We're live, and we're both gone for the sleeveless, mate. So this is good.
Yeah, well, that was the memo, wasn't it? You asked me to make sure I didn't have sleeves on.
Well, no, I wouldn't have, because I don't want to compare my guns to yours, to be honest, mate. So I'd have made you fully sleeved if there were a choice in it. But how are we, mate? How are we?
Yeah, good. It's recovery after the games has actually not been too bad. It's actually more the just like jet lag, and you know what it's like when you go on holiday and it's like you get ahead on work, but then when you get back, it doesn't really make a difference. You're like still behind. So the last week, because we got back on like Thursday, we got back Thursday morning, we landed. It's just been, trying to get back on a level peg, to be honest. But it's good. Everything's feeling good. So yeah.
How does that look? Because we're going to come on to a few bits and bobs in a minute, but I'm just like, obviously with how well AOD were represented at the games with you guys and Harry, does that just fucking go mad on programming and people coming with requests and stuff with you guys because you're so visible? So is there so much to do when you get back?
I wouldn't say so too much. Like, it's because when you're at the games, you're not going to be picking up clients, right? Because everyone there is spoken for, they've got their plan, whatever. It's obviously a bit of visibility. And then really our busiest times, and it's not like super, there's not like trends throughout the year, but typically when we go to competitions, and then it's a lot of our like RX, like domestic elite kind of athletes are competing, and people are like, we want to get involved with that. So off the back of the games, it's never like crazy, but it definitely draws more eyes onto your like account and just like your profile and your brand in general. So I imagine we'll get like a little bit of a boost from it in that sense, but it's not like the calendar's like all of a sudden way more booked than it was, kind of thing, which I think we always knew that. Like, I think when we first started AOD, we were like, we want to be coaching athletes at the pinnacle of the sport. We made that like our first mission, like that was the initial thing. And now that we've done that a few times, like I've had 3 years, we've been represented there. It's kind of like not the be and end all really, but it's very good to have that next to your name, right? So it's got a lot of credibility.
Yeah, because I don't know, it's just extra eyes on, isn't it? And then, you know, maybe they're not the sort of clients you want, but everyone that sort of sees it and goes, oh, magic pill at AOD, they get people to games, I'll sign up to their programming.
You know what? The longer I do this, and the more time I spend around like the individuals, like the obviously the absolute genetic freaks, all that kind of stuff, it makes you realize there's not a magic pill. Like, there's definitely ways to make people improve better, faster, like more efficacy, but you'll be surprised at the athletes that are at the top, how many of them are actually not as kind of thorough and dialed in, and like, or maybe their coaches aren't quite as like well learned and things like that. Because and normally it's a combo of the two, right? It's the genetic freak who finds the right coach for them, and all the pieces kind of fit into place. But there are people who are there who are just kind of, they're just amazing, and they just need to just do loads of training, and they'll be just fine.
So when you're at the games then, with your sort of coach's hat on, are you looking around at some of them people and thinking, God, I wish I could have the opportunity to coach you because you're not being coached correctly and you've got so much potential?
The biggest tell for coaches is normally like the warm-up area, and then how people are kind of just like acting around events and what they're doing, and just like, I think the preparation speaks like more than anything, because it like there's times, and you see it all elite comps, but you're sometimes watching people warming up and you're like, why the fuck are they doing that? Or like, what is going on here? And you give them the benefit of the doubt, and you're like, maybe they've got some kind of process or some kind of thing going on, but more than often it's just, they're just not doing the most efficacious thing, right? They're still getting warm for the workout. But equally, I could speak for myself, because by the last event of the weekend, my warm-up was just 2 caffeine tablets and just ready to go. So that was pretty much it.
Yeah, so maybe people were looking at you and thinking, fuck me, what's Azzy
doing? Is this guy going to do anything? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty warm. I've done a lot.
So one question I wanted to ask, mate, before we delve into the sort of athlete experience at the games was, I remember when we spoke just before you went, you said that this time it was about going, enjoying it, taking it all in, because when you went last time, you didn't really have the opportunity to do that. Did you get what you wanted from this experience in terms of ticking those boxes that were maybe left unchecked last time?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like in terms of, from like a fulfillment standpoint, like personally speaking, it was basically perfect. Like there's always things that you wish you'd maybe done a bit better, or like the performance was a bit better or whatever, but that's just being an athlete in general. But the major difference for me was that time was just moving slower, which meant that it wasn't a rush. I wasn't really stressed for any event. I was like looking at it as I know what I've got to do. Like, and I'm like talking about the warm up, right? Quite often when people have a lot of nervous energy, they're doing a lot in the warm up that they don't need to be doing because they're nervous and they're like, well, what can I do to prepare myself the absolute most? And it's like, when you're relaxed, it's kind of just like, get the body in the right place, like be nice and chilled. And then like going onto the floor and the adrenaline is going to do a lot of that extra bit for you anyway. So it was nice to just like take it all in because it wasn't completely new, and like going out onto the floor, like for events, you're like looking around, you're taking it in, which when I did it last time, it was kind of like you're on the floor, go, fuck. Like it's just like this huge rush the whole time. And I think it comes part with being better as an athlete as well, that things feel like they're moving slower. Like in a workout, you're not in a rush to be in the race. And you know, they talk about like world-class athletes in lots of sports. They always look like they have a lot of time. And that's what it felt like more than anything, is that because we're better, because we're more experienced, it just felt like you have more time to do things, you know, and not get caught up in it.
Yeah, I don't know what number workout it was, but I remember saying that to you when we chatted, or it might have been ads when I saw him in the crowd. Like, they were one of the workouts where you were like near the back of the heat, and then it was the one where you were the worm cleans, I think, and then you just sort of started chipping past teams as you went on, and it were like you're just totally in control, had the game plan, didn't panic at what.
Yeah, and it was, and it's just stuff like that. Like I'm pulling on experience for that. When we're strategizing workouts, I'm looking at it and I'm like, we don't need to go out super hot here because I know what our capacity is. We're familiar with like the field and the other people. And it's like, if we just strategize things the way we need to and follow the plan, the result's going to be the best it can be. That didn't happen the whole time, but it did happen a few times. So yeah, maybe the worm clean and jerk workout, and then the one that finished with the lunges as well. It was just not like, it was just doing the thing at a good pace and then just like trying to finish strong, you know, which was really good.
Yeah, there's always something, whenever I say worm on the floor, and I know you guys are coming out, I always feel like you're going to do well, because I feel like you do a lot more team stuff than most teams do, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's because we've spent so much time on it, and it's like when a new team member comes in, all the lessons that you've learned are still there. So they just get up to speed right away. And when we got into team, 4-person teams was like relatively a new thing. So no one had the processes, the calls, like how we do things. And it's still very much developing. And it's something that we've worked on a lot this year. And every year we work on it, is like, how do you be quicker with the worm and be more efficient? And I think that as a piece of equipment, there's just so much margin for improvement. Like one day people, well, if they keep it that way and 4-person teams is like a real mainstay for a long time, the level on the worm is going to get fucking insane, because you can just get so much better at it.
Yeah. So, right, mate, I'm going to take you back then. So I want to know all the stuff that we don't see, all those CrossFit fans that we watch it on YouTube. We don't see any of the stuff. So what's checking like? How does that look when you get there? Is it really regimented and you have to be here at this time and do this?
Yeah, so everyone had their own check-in slot. Our check-in slot was with Mayhem, and they were bringing 2 teams in while they're trying to like clear the other ones out. And you basically go, you get all your kit. You have the nice little lockers, and you get your plaque, and you get like your games coin, which is quite a cool piece of memorabilia or whatever you want to call it, like, because you can only get a games coin by qualifying, right? So you collect those and you don't fucking lose them. I thought I'd lost one at one point. It was pretty stressful. So we get all of that stuff. you try all the clothes on. As you can imagine, I was done with that within about 6 minutes, and then the other 3 were getting everything sized up, sized down, whatever. Then what we do?
So can they do that, mate? Sorry to interject. So
yeah,
if they, because obviously you might not have wore some of that stuff, so you don't actually know how it fits. If it didn't fit you, can they replace it with your name and stuff on, or are
so
you just...
in practice, because they've done it both times we've went, if it doesn't fit, you go, this doesn't fit, I need it, and they go, right, we're going to reprint it, come and collect it. Now, sometimes they take it off you. Sometimes you keep it. So you've got double, but one of them doesn't fit. But you've got double the kit. Yeah. I'm not trying to bash Velites here at all, because I can't even imagine how much of a fucking nightmare that whole thing is. But they were like, we're here all day tomorrow, pick it up at any time. And then the next day it's like, you have to pick your kit up at 7 o'clock in the evening. And you have to have all your kit before the first event on Friday. So that was a bit of a scramble. And I think OJ, he had to have all his shirts redone. And he pretty much just ended up, I don't think they got the reprints done for him properly. So he would basically wear maybe like a tank top that kind of fitted, and then he'd just take it off, which is fair enough for him, because he's not going to wear a shirt anyway. But yeah, I think Helen got a load of stuff reprinted and just kept it. And I was just like, I feel so bad for these guys. But the clothing was very snugly fit. So like, if you're like me and OJ, he sometimes wears double XL, but we might both wear an XL and a t-shirt, but it fits us differently. I can get away with wearing an XL and it being a bit snugger. Whereas for him, it was like his belly button's coming out kind of thing, like it was quite small. So, logistical nightmare for Velites, and I don't think they quite pulled it off. I know that when we went before, Noble had to do a similar thing, but I don't think we had any issues with that.
Yeah, it must be really hard. How much did you actually get? Did you get enough to wear something new each workout?
It's an insane amount of kit. So it goes like, we're talking like 12 pairs of shorts, 12 tops. Yeah, so it's more than you need for events. And then they give you socks, they give you undershorts, because you can't even have like branding from other brands like sticking out the top of your shorts on your pants or something like that. Like they want you in full. It's because they're paying to be the sponsor, right? Yeah. So like half of my compression shorts, only checked like the black ones, they were larges, and then the other half were mediums because they just fucked it up. I just go to Athlete Control the next day and I just go, yeah, I need more compression shorts. Like these are too small. So then they've just given me another like 4 pairs of compression shorts in the crazy size I need. I've got the mediums. I just gave them to someone, like one of the supporters. I was like, they'll probably fit you. There you go. So it's a little bit of a free for all. And then obviously all the pairs of socks, like shitloads. Like, well, look, I've got stuff here. We're literally like inundated with like, it's a bit of a nightmare. It's good because you're stocked up for a while on all those little bits, but getting it back's not easy.
I'm going to say, did you have to buy? Is it extra baggage on the way back then?
We checked another bag. Because we got for the team, we got like an extra 3 pairs of rads. We got a pair of lifters. We got 2 pairs of the Velites trainers, and you're kind of like just looking to give stuff away at that point because you're like, I'm not going to get it all back. So I gave away my Velites trainers because I don't really love them. I'll show you them here. Look. They're not the most aesthetic shoe. I'm just slamming Velites right now.
Mate, I love a gum sole though, I do. But yeah, they
kind of, I don't know. I don't love them. They kind of feel like a barefoot shoe actually, just a bit more built up.
Oh, I think they're quite nice.
But it's hard to compare when you're getting 3 rads at the same time,
Yeah. So what were the rad? Did Rad just go and sponsor teams and say, here you go, here's some free rads?
No, so they weren't necessarily like sponsoring us. I think it's because we're a UK team. So like all of the Rad athletes would have got their kit drops. And then we're just kind of like, I say we're close with Rad. Like we know people that work with Rad. We know people that work at Rad. So then just on that relationship, they were just like, yeah, like we'll give you guys the shoes, like, because they gave us some before we went out, and then they were like, we'll give you the games colorways as well, which is quite sick because we had like all four of us wearing these like neon pink ones at one time.
I've seen that.
And you
cool.
stand out loads on the stream, and it just looks fucking sweet as well. So, yeah, that was pretty cool.
And then, so when you pick up all your stuff, and then I guess, what did they do briefing wise? Was it like briefing each workout, or did they brief each day?
So we had a brief on Thursday for Friday's events. Then we had a brief at 7:30, I think. It was like check-in for brief at 7:30 Saturday and Sunday. So it wasn't like at the event, So it wasn't super chilled in that sense. Like, you're getting home like not super early, and then like on the Friday we did loads, right? We did like 4 events. You're not getting home that early, then you got to go back in for an early morning brief, and I felt like that could have been done a little bit better, as in on the Saturday, just because of like logistics. Like, there was times that they could have briefed us more, and just like closed the gap a little bit. Also, there was some times that, like, Boz, because he did all the briefings for us, he would brief a workout, but there's a workout that Dave wanted to announce to us, right? So then Dave would come in and he'd do a shit job of just announcing whatever it is, but it's because he's like really likes this workout, right? He wants to do it. He'll run through that. He'll make the demo team do it in front of us. He'll then leave, and then Boz will pretty much just go from the start again, and you're just sat there like hour to 90 minutes, like, fuck, like, is this seriously like what we're doing? Like, I don't know. Like, it definitely could have been done a little bit better, but I get that there's a lot going on. So,
did you all have to be there as well? Was that a part of the?
Yeah, I emailed about that. I was like, can the coach or just the coach and the captain go? And they were like, no, all team members need to go. If you weren't to go, you'd lose one of your appeals for the weekend. And you had 2 appeals, so you wouldn't have. Yeah, you'd lose an appeal basically for one of them if you miss a briefing.
How do the appeals work? Like, is it like in football, or in American football, if you're successful, you get to keep it, job, or is it just 2 appeals?
Yeah. You get to keep it. Yeah, and what they would do is, if you were getting stung with no reps, they're not gonna look at that at all. So there was a workout that the other 3 were getting penalised quite heavily for squat depth, and I'm really surprised that the girls had anything come in, because I'm like, that just really surprises me. OJ gets a few no reps. He's then like corrected it. Like, he's not the most mobile of people, but like, I'm literally standing there watching him get no rep. Like, well, like, what's going on? We spoke to them afterwards, and they were just like, the judge's call is final. So it's only really in the circumstance of like doing something extra or it being the wrong flow, then they'll check the cameras that they've got like stationed on the floor, and they'll just make sure you've done the right amount of reps, the right flow, like that kind of thing. So like, you can't contest poor judging, basically, if that's what's happened.
Yeah. It's a strange one, but I guess that does make sense, because that's very sort of subjective, isn't it? It's like one person's view is another person's, and then another camera angle might look different to this camera angle.
Their opinion is that they've vetted the judges, right? And they're like, we trust them. They're going to uphold the standard that we want. And more than often, you won't find that people get away with much. It's more that people are getting stung for not having great standards, because on the deadlift workout, like, we were really breaking down, but they were being quite harsh on us, while there's other teams that look worse that are getting credited the reps. But like, I expect that. Like, that's from experience of being at the games. The judges are very anal. Like, if they want you to squat lower, fucking squat lower, you know?
Yeah.
If you can.
So, you know, when, because there were one workout where an appeal went in which bumped you down, was that the other team just appealed on their score? Or did they make an appeal against something you'd done?
So we'd beaten them by 10 seconds, and that would have given us 10th overall in the final standings. I think they maybe did 3 additional reps, and they got awarded 12 seconds.
What reps were those? What was
They must have been thrusters. It's the only thing it could have been, because it was rope climbs, thrusters, and then lunging. So force. I'm not sure it takes 4 seconds to do a thruster, but yeah.
And that, I guess,
you can't appeal. You can't appeal other people's stuff.
Yeah, and if a judge has made them do more, then that's a judging error as opposed to
it's fair that they took the appeal.
Yeah,
100%. the degree of it, but they'll have standardized like timings for movements, I imagine. So
yeah,
they're like, it might not have been 3 reps, it might have been fucking 6, But from what the whispers I heard, they're never going to be super clear with you, because we did kind of inquire about it slyly.
So in terms of that, so you check in, you do all that. So what's one thing I always wonder about when you guys are like competing at this level is the warm up. So in terms of a warm up area, I saw like videos and stuff from there, and it was all class and had everything you'd need, as you can imagine. But what's the sort of time frame from finishing your warm up to get into corral and then to getting on the floor? Because I always find that fascinating. If you
so this was something that was actually really, really good. Was that basically the warm up area was in like the athlete center, which is a separate building, and we'd warm up in there for maybe 30 minutes. You could go in there prior to it, so because it actually wasn't like super busy. So it was kind of free flow. Like you could go in, like if you wanted to go and sit on the bike for 10-15 minutes before you started warming up, you could easily do that. You're probably kind of in the warm-up area for 30 minutes. They then call you. You go down to under the stadium. Then it depends what heat you're in, I guess. But when you're under the stadium, the heat before you goes out. And then it's just a whole nother warm-up area, exactly the same, a little bit smaller, under the stadium. So you're never corralled for very long, like less than 5 minutes. And then once you get on the floor, it's 1 to 2 minutes. And I think that's why with the teams, the back squat, they only gave us a 5-minute window each, because like the guys, we wouldn't have done any squats for 15 minutes plus.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they kept it the way they did, because obviously for the individuals, they were like doing a squat every 3 minutes, which is kind of optimal for trying to go as heavy as possible. Whereas we just had 5 minutes for 2 of us, and like there wasn't a transition window; it just went straight through.
Yeah,
but it was all right, bit of adrenaline makes it feel easier.
Yeah, that was the main thing I was thinking about, especially with some of the opening lifts, some of the athletes, because I've heard at events in the past, you're waiting, like you can be waiting 10, 15, 20 minutes, can't you? Sometimes,
yeah.
By the time when you do,
yeah, we did have to wait a bit longer on that, but I think a lot of that comes down to your mindset as well. Like if you're letting a long corral, that's something that's improved a lot for me as I've gained more experience as an athlete, is like just giving less of a shit about that, and like feeling like super warm. Because when you're in the gym and you do like a qualifier workout or something like that, you'll do your potentiation round, which is like practicing the workout, getting your heart rate up, like feeling it. And then you'll probably rest for 5 minutes, like set the camera up, whatever, go. It's really nice, optimal. But you need to just accept that that's not the reality. But to be honest, they did a really good job of it. So it wasn't really too stressful. If you go to something like French Throwdown, still a very good competition, but it's never as good as that, Yeah.
It sounds like, so from an athlete point of view then, would you like, is there anything that you thought could have been better, should have been better, or was it a pretty seamless experience? Because like everything I'm hearing about the games, from spectator to athlete to media, has all been really positive. So I just wondered if there were anything that could have been better.
Yeah. I think that from me looking at the whole thing, obviously because of the proceedings of last year and there just being quite a lot of heat on it, they scaled things back. So there was less athletes there. The whole thing was just smaller. And I don't think it was a bad thing, because it just meant the whole thing was closer. Timings were better. Like it ran quite smooth in that sense. So that was good. Trying to think, like I didn't love the team programming. More so just because we had that back-to-back workout that was pegboard into that snatch complex.
Yeah.
And I just felt like we just fucking like busted our lungs for like an hour in the morning, like literally devastating shit. And you get one event's worth of points. And then you just do these 2 5-minute workouts that are quite niche. And it's like double that. Because I thought that first workout was great, like a very good test of endurance. Like everyone was individually chip timed. So it's similar to a lifting event where it's not just on the slowest person. It's about like the team's efforts. And then that pegboard snatch one, it's like, it's not that I hate that program itself. I'm just like, in the grand scheme of things, that was worth so much for what it was, if that makes sense. So maybe that workout could have been better if it was maybe just one round of points and it was together. Maybe that barbell could have been heavy. I don't know. Like, so from like the program standpoint, also what was quite clear, and obviously this shit's never easy, but like the workouts were much simpler and like easier. I think across the individuals and the teams as well. Easier doesn't actually mean easier. Easier just means faster, right? So I think that was a little bit of a theme as well. And I think Dave probably said that at some point. He was like, we're going back to basics kind of thing, which I didn't hate. Like, I didn't hate that at all. So, no, like athlete experience was really good.
Yeah. And something on the program, and I'm speaking more from an individual level here because of what I just heard someone, I don't know which podcast I was listening to, and they said it's one of the first times that there's ever been no withdrawals in the individual side. So it was quite ironic that, you know, all the haters that want to say CrossFit injures people, they take the games back to classic CrossFit, and even people pushing at that intense elite level, nobody got injured. So is it CrossFit that injures people, or is it odd objects and things like that?
Yeah, I think that's what you really noticed was like no one was really being presented with much that they hadn't done before. So they were like simple, easy, like I keep saying easy, but they're not. But like, so it's more about how fast people can push. And I don't think it should be that way all the time. Like maybe there could be one workout in there that's just absolutely hanging, but like it was like basic shit. It was classic CrossFit. And it's like, you know, like Jason Hopper is doing that snatch, the running Isabel one, right? And he's like failing at the end. And it's like, you've managed to push them to their limits with a very, very simple workout, like an easy, like we say easy, like an accessible workout to an extent, you know, which I think is really cool. And it was exciting as well for people to watch that. So, yeah, I think they did a good job with that.
Yeah. And I guess, I don't know, like from a programming point of view as well, like I got the view that, you know, if you're going into the last 2 workouts on the male side, we can discount the female side because of tier. And you've got like one of 8 people that could potentially win the games with 2 workouts to go. That, to me, in my basic understanding of things, is just good programming by definition, because you've left it open to all those incredible athletes to be able to take charge. So yeah, I thought it was much more fun to watch than I thought it would be. So it was almost like a case of just trust it until you see it, because on paper, some of them, like that running Isabella, like that, you looked at that on paper and you're like, oh, it's not that heavy. 200 foot in that much of a run. This is going to be a bit of shit. And it were absolutely incredible.
You discount how hard these guys are going to push, you know? Because
how many people would be buzzing with a sub 3 Isabel? You know what I mean? And they're doing that with a run.
Yeah, because what was it they did? I can't even remember the name of the workout. They called it like Helena, right? It was like a Helen variation. And it was like running dumbbell snatches just at 22s and 15 kilo dumbbells. So just like standard class RX weights, and then bar muscle ups. And that workout was fucking awesome. But you like look at it on paper and you're like, meh. Like when it was actually like, they've got to fucking go, you know, they've got to go so fast. It's going to be crazy. So yeah, I actually really like that because, yeah, it was good.
And then, but I know we've touched on the programming from a team's point of view. So when obviously you come second in the run row, when you looked at them all on paper, was that the one that you thought, right, we can make a real splash on this, or was that like a sort of a happy surprise?
That was, yeah, that was crazy because I think because OJ came first in the guys, the team guys. Kerry came in second. I literally have no idea what placings me and Helen came in at, but I think I looked at it and I was like, for me and Helen, we had prepared for that. Literally, like we've done the training for that perfectly, right? It's like great. Like we know how we're going to pace this. We know like what we're going to be capable of. How that falls in the field, I don't know. I think that because of semi-finals and how it was, there was a lot of teams that really struggled with that event more than I would have previously expected. Like whenever you're training for stuff, you've got your competitors in your head and you're like, they're doing this, like this is what they're going to do, this is the level, and you never actually know. And then we basically went out on this first run. I'm like, this is like a fucking hour-long event, so I'm not cooking myself here. I'm going to run the pace that I know is sensible from all this training I've been doing. And after about a kilometer, there was just like this wave of people just descending upon me that had just run way too hard. Like, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. I don't think anyone passed me during the entire workout, as in like maybe places moved on the row. You just like don't know. But when I was running, I was always passing people, like other than like right at the start. And Helen would probably say similarly as well. And then when we got off the row too, there you were like coming across people on the course that were just like hanging, like they were suffering so bad. There was this one guy, I won't say the team because I'm dishing them out a bit, but I basically got two people in front of me in like the last K, and I'm like, okay, like this is going to be fucking brutal because I'm going to catch up to whoever it is, and they're gonna like it's going to be a bloodbath right to the end. Yeah. First guy I come up to, I'm running, and it literally sounds like his chest is like rattling. I'm like, this guy's going to die. Anyway, he just stops. And he just bends over, he just throws up next to me. He's just spewing. And I'm like, right, see you then. Like in the last K, then I come across this last guy and I'm like, fuck, like he's far, like this is going to be bad for me, right? This is going to be really a lot of suffering. Because I was like, because when I get there, he's going to put up a fight. Yeah. So last 400 meters, I basically put the burners on or whatever that looks like for me. That's why I was like jelly legged over the line. And as I've come past him, there's just no answer. And I'm just like crossing the line, just thinking, I've basically just torn both my hip flexors doing this. And the guy wasn't even bothered about it. Like he just let it go. So, yeah. Did
you do that thing, mate? Did you try and run quietly so he didn't hear you coming? So you could just
I was fucking like screaming. I was going like, whoa! I was literally on the brink of death. The whole workout, I felt great. I was like, this is going so well. I'm pacing it well. And it got to that last guy and I was like, I need to take this person. Like, yeah, he didn't answer it. I don't know why. I would have, especially because he probably heard me coming from about 200 meters away. That noise I was making. But yeah, like to answer your question, like, was it a surprise? We thought it'd be good for us just because Kerry and OJ are such good runners, but we didn't think it'd be that good. First place with 2 minutes ahead. Fair enough. Like, that's not touchable. I guess it is across 4 of you, but like, and then the next place below us was 2 minutes behind us as well. So it was a pretty solid, like, second place. And I think that really couldn't have gone any better, but it's because we trained for it perfectly. So that's what happens, I guess.
Yeah. Where would OJ have stacked up in the men's field with his time?
I don't actually know. Like when we finished right away, Adzi said top 10. And then I feel like later on, someone said to me that he would have come second.
What was his time?
I don't know. I wish I had that information to hand. All that OJ cared about was that he beat Lightfoot in
it. He had a good performance in it as well, though, didn't he? I bet he were pretty happy with that in that.
Yeah, he did well. I mean, like, because I've got him on Strava, right? We've got each other on Strava. And when I saw him, I was like, well done, bro. You just ran your second fastest 5K at the start of a 9K event with 3K rowing in there as well. But yeah, his running's come on miles. Like he's actually quite a formidable runner now. But same thing with him, like, because of all like the physiological testing and the lactate testing and the training we do, like at like designated thresholds, we all know the paces that we're capable of from a physiological level. So like I said, at the start of that run, I'm obviously getting caught up a little bit, but I'm like, I'm not going to go silly with this because I know what I can do. And it's the same with Lightfoot. Like, he's done the VO2 max testing, he's done the lactate threshold testing, so he knows what to expect. Whereas I feel like some people, like, a lot of people, I imagine, it's just kind of guesswork, you know?
Well, it is, I guess, then, isn't it? Because I was going to ask you then, like, when people are burning past you at the start, and then within a K, you see them all coming back towards you, but the backs of them because you're catching them up. Do you think that is what makes a difference? You knowing, right, I'm not going to panic, you can go, because if you can hold that, I know I can't, so crack on. Whereas if you'd not done that sort of lactate testing in your VO2 max and stuff, you might get panicked into trying to keep up at their pace and then be that guy throwing up on the back straight.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, yeah, because it's a long workout and your pacing can go wrong at any point. Because when I was on the rower, I was like, I'm fucked. Like, I've not paced this right. I've run too fast. And then when I got off it kind of flushed because I ran faster than what I anticipated, and not loads, but it was quicker than. And you do have the things in your head when you really start hurting, like, have I gone too far? Have I not? But at least you have that reference point to know what is like the physiological limit is. Like, there's a huge mental game in endurance sports, but your physiology is your physiology at the end of the day. Like, so, yeah, I think that's it. And really it's just being in touch with those things. And it's why when you do CrossFit, like, a lot of it comes down to experience in terms of pacing, because CrossFit workouts that are always different are so much about pacing and pacing it right. But people don't know how to pace it because of not having prior experience. So the more exposure you have to different things and knowing how you should pace them and how you should do them, you can do better without even being fitter, which is kind of the thing. So I think that is a big kind of the good performances that we put out from our camp. A lot of it just comes from just awareness, you know, and being aware of the right pace for us individually.
Yeah, and what about the rowers, mate? So what are the row growers like in comparison to the concept too? Because they said that they're the same, but nothing's ever the same, is it?
I use one because they partnered up. I use one at French because they had the Rogue stand, and it's different, but it's similar. You know, like it's pretty similar. Yeah, it's not like I imagine what I rode, because I probably rode like a 152 maybe for my 3K, and that's what it felt like, you know.
Yeah, because I did think that with everyone, they've got to have made them pretty similar, aren't they? Because you'd have been screwed.
Yeah, I wouldn't be in a huge rush to get a rogue rower for the gym because they come up at, whereas like the assault rowers, I don't even know what the fuck they are. They're a nightmare. Like, they're just not even in the realms of being the same thing.
Yeah,
they're just totally different.
And I know they've said, haven't they, that in the open, I think Dave said it on a podcast or something. He said in the open, you can either use a rogue or a concept when they come up. So, yeah. So in terms of, like, we've kind of talked about the pegboard one and the snatch one that weren't too good, and then the only other one was the all on the line workout. That was the only other that gave you a bit of a hit. What was your thoughts on that one, mate? Like, was that one that you thought? I don't know, mate. It was second to last workout.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, fuck. That was hard.
And was that one that you thought would be? Was that going to be a challenge?
Didn't know what to expect on that. For Kerry and OJ, the handstand walk-in and maybe the handstands was like not like, they weren't super excited about that. Like, that's a bit more of a challenge for them. And we don't have a 4-person actual bar to practice with. And I think that's where the issue came in. Because basically what happened was OJ was getting, because he's so strong on the deadlift, he was getting ahead. So it puts the bar like this. All the weight then comes down onto me at the other end. I'm then slow because I've got all the weight. I'm also fatiguing at an exponential rate. So by the end of the workout, he's getting annihilated because he's just holding the top, waiting for me. I'm getting fucking annihilated because the thing's just like all the weight's down there. And really, like, partner deadlifts are like a legit, just like a nightmare. And normally the slowest or the guy or whoever's slower gets punished for it, because the weight goes like this. So when guys and girls do partner deadlifts together, because the girls' weight's lighter, like just because it's lighter, it will typically just move faster, like it breaks off the ground quicker. It goes like that, the guy gets smashed. And on that workout, all the guys, it was like the back room afterwards was just like men just laying down, like crying about their backs, like just trying to get some kind of relief, you know, like the physio room afterwards was just stacked with people needing massages on their backs. So I think had we had more exposure to that prior, we would have been a lot better. That's the same for everyone. I also think that workout does just need to go to shit a little bit, but the later that happens, the better you're going to do, because we didn't do very well in that workout, but you're not very far to being mid-table. Like all the scores are very, very close. So I think two things is that if we're just quicker on the handstand walk, that's better. And then also just being more just like in sync on the barbell, just coordinating that better, managing the fatigue a bit better. It's right, because going through the first 30, we're like doing good ones. Then they start getting a bit shit. But in my head, I'm like this. I'm going to let these go shit, and I'm going to take a bit of a hit here. I'll chat to OJ when I come back to try and fix this. But then I just didn't flush. So by the time I got back to it, I was still in like big trouble. And that's just how it goes sometimes with team. You're like, because you're all trying to move together and with other people, it's like sometimes you got to just take the hit and be like, I'm just going to move like shit a little bit, or like what's not great for you. And then it will come back around and it'll be okay. But I just didn't recover for that. And then it just made the problem exponentially worse. Because I wouldn't say that deadlifts, they're not like a real strong movement for me, but they're never an issue. But as soon as you put it in those partner formats where you've got different people working differently, I always get pretty strung out on those. So yeah, that was the major issue there, really.
So what if we look at the weekend in its entirety, mate, in terms of your performance as a team, what would we grade it out of 10?
So if semi-finals was a 10 out of 10, like just the perfect execution, I'd maybe give us a 7.5 to an 8. As in, we didn't have any major issues, but there's like almost like I say easy fixes. Like there's just things that you can just tidy up on. You know, a lot of it I think is due to exposure. Like if people do, because we've got a pegboard at the gym, but it's only me and Helen that are there all the time. But you just do more of that. You have we do more of the partner deadlift stuff to just kind of iron that out, and it gets a lot better. So it wasn't the perfect execution, but then I think when there's more, the more events there are, the more margin there is for error, right? And I think if you spoke to anyone, even like Jason Hopper, who just won, there's going to be things they're not going to give it a 10 out of 10, you know, because there was times that they dropped some points. I've not been involved in many 10 out of 10s. Semi-finals, if anything, the semi-finals this year was probably the only one that I've ever been involved in, really.
And with semis as well, what was interesting about that when we were chatting, I feel like even before you qualified, before you knew you'd qualified, you felt that was a 10 out of 10, didn't you? You were buzzing that last day.
Yeah, like you know when you've squeezed every morsel out of something, right? And like you've like done the best you possibly can. But yeah, super rare that someone's going to get through that many events and it's a live comp and it's all these variables and be like, there wasn't something, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty happy with a 7.5 to an 8, you know?
Yeah. So overall then, are you happy with 11th in terms of your performance and what you gave versus the position in itself? Because I know you had aspirations for 9th and above, because that would have made you the highest place in UK athlete-based team ever. So did that sting a little not quite hitting that, or based on the fact you were happy overall?
I was disappointed. I was disappointed with that, but at the same time, I wasn't going to let it overshadow how happy and how proud I was with the whole thing. So yeah, it'd be interesting to speak to Helen about it, because when the appeal came in, she was fucking fuming, and I was just like, look, like you can't leave it to the last event to try and decide where you're going to finish, you know, like that, like if it's all to play for in the final event in terms of where you want to get to, then to be fair as well, there was teams, it was pretty mad. Like the teams that did really bad in the run, they were just like coming through like all weekend. They were just like coming through. Teams that did really well in the run, they were kind of like dropping / like clinging on a little bit. We're kind of in the middle there somewhere, because after day one, I think we probably dropped down to like 8th, and then we were just like flip-flopping around like 8th to 10th, like that. So that was the hardest thing, was it wasn't a massive field, and there were teams that did really badly before that were then going to hit home runs on other stuff. And I think what we lacked, and it's no fault to our own or our preparation, is we didn't have any workouts come up that are like, we are going to annihilate this like later in the weekend. So say we had something that was like real power output, like just like echo bike, burpee, like snatch cycling kind of thing, that was like sub 3 or 4 minutes, like team relay. I think that we'd really go on that, and we'd get ourselves like fucking frothing at the mouth to do it. We just didn't have any other home run workouts come up, which the teams that end up finishing like just above us, they might have done badly in the run, but then they've had like 2 other things come up that's like, they're going to cook with this, like whether it be the back squat or whatever, like they're just like, so I don't think the program was, we didn't get lucky with the program, basically. Like we also didn't get unlucky.
Yeah. So where does this leave you all then, mate? So in terms of...
this is the question, isn't it, that you've been waiting to ask?
Well, it is, because it's like that. Have you seen Mike Bassett, England manager, when he's quitting at end at World Cup, and then they get a good performance to finish semi-finals, like 4 more fucking years? Were you all like that after?
Oh God. There was a running joke the whole weekend that we're just like, come on, like this is sweet, like let's do another year, like that kind of thing. So I've not really considered it. Like we haven't spoken amongst us for who wants to do it. Before the games, I was like planning an individual season next year. That's how fucking sick of it I was. Like, I was just sick of training and just like having to manage like a group of people and be around the whole thing. I was like, yeah, I can't wait for a bit of freedom next year. It's going to be class. But it was such a good experience. And honestly, I don't know, like whenever we do it, we never rush into it, which is a little bit to our detriment, because if you rushed into it, you could start sooner. But it's because all the parties at play need to be 100% sure. And that's always what we've worked off, is like, we need people that are like fucking nails. They're going the whole way. Like this is what they want to do. So we've got, me and Helen are doing Southwest Regionals this weekend. So we'll do that. I'll go to the games in the Masters Games next week to coach Ross and OJ. Then when I come back from there, I'll speak to Helen about it, because she's my partner in crime. And then we'll go from there, I guess.
And that's the sensible thing to do, I guess, isn't it? Because while you're buzzing and you're on that endorphin high and it's all been amazing, it's easy to make a decision that you might not, because it's not easy, is it? It's not like you can just turn up.
Yeah, with the sentiment there was in the group, and we're all like talking about it, they're like, Harry's going to be the hardest to convince to do it because he said he's out. But then they're also going, but if it's going on, there's no way he's not doing it. Like, it's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard. Because to be fair, I don't think, like, say we don't do it and all the other teams are going through the season, they're doing whatever. Like, I don't really think I get caught up in that. Like, I'm pretty focused on myself, but like it's an itch, isn't it? You got to scratch, and we do enjoy it. I think the hardest thing for the whole, and it's been the same every year, the hardest thing is when you've just got, like, the open starts and then you're just committing entire weekends to it. And it's not like I have plans at the weekend, but it's like you got someone staying at your house, you get up early, you train, you eat, you train again. And it's like, and there's so much to get in. It's always a little bit of a rush, and it's like, it really wears you down. And it's not that people are falling out or don't like each other. It's just the commitment of the thing, right? And if it doesn't wear you down, you're probably not doing it right. You know, you're not pushing it hard enough. So it's just that, and whether you want to take on another year of that, because I know that I've spoken to other people that do team, and you're talking about, are they doing another year? Have they got any team plans? Like, what's this, that, and the other? And they're just like, I just don't know if I can put myself there again, right? And that was when Rich Fronin stopped doing individual. It was because he was like, I don't know if I can deal with that for another year, like the anxiety and the focus and things like that. So we basically need to let it cool off and then decide if we're up for another round of stress.
And then it's some 20-year anniversary, isn't it? So it's going to be a big one, mate. So
they're talking about Carson or Madison, and that would be sick. Yeah. So what are we going to do about that then, eh?
Mate, and having seen the new marketing strategy and the adverts that are coming out for CrossFit, like, I'm going to make a run for games at this rate. You know what I mean? It's got everybody pumped up, aren't they? What do you think to that pivot? It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I like a. It's just old. It's just like a bit more old school, isn't it? Like, and I think that's. Yeah, to be honest, I don't really know what my opinion is. Like, I love the methodology and I love coaching CrossFit and things like that. And my gym is quite unique in the sense that even though, like, all the class members, I guess it is probably above average in terms of like level, just because the ceiling's very high in the gym. But the class members in our gym they just feed off it. Like, these athletes go in, they find it so inspirational and they want to train loads and this stuff. And it's like, it's amazing, but they're still just like Gen Pop. So if you can get it, like with their marketing, what they're doing, like if you can have role models and people that they're aspiring towards or they're inspired by them, I think that's amazing. It's just this whole thing of like, is CrossFit, like, are you making it too hardcore that it's like stopping certain people from gaining access to it? Like, but then they went so far the other way that they had people sitting down on the couch and standing back up with milk jugs. And it's like, well, what the fuck? Like, that's not the thing. So yeah, I thought that was quite cool. It's got to go through waves, isn't it? But I think right now, especially with how the guys side has just gone, like, they need to get on that hard edge a little bit because people are pumped up about it. They want to be in the gyms, like they're seeing the shit again. Like, it was a little bit reminiscent of the glory days, right? Like, Matt Fraser, Josh Bridges coming over the line, just like smashing their chest, like kind of thing. So we'll see how it goes. The sale of CrossFit is imminent, right? In the next few months. No one totally knows what's going on there. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's
on a finishing note, how do you think that compares to WFP? Because the games was fucking insane. That was so sick.
Well, they must be looking at it, mate, going, fuck's sake, we wanted that to bomb a bit.
WFP to me is just so vanilla. Like, I think it's great. Professional athletes, like the sport needs it. They release the workouts early. The workouts are all like kind of sensible. Like, they're very well written. Like,
I thought it looked good on paper, the workouts.
Yeah, like you look at the workouts and you're like, that's pretty sweet. Like, you could scale that and give that to someone to do in their training or like whatever. But then, like I said, it's like a bit vanilla, like, because they're newly established. So they're kind of like the wokeist of the fitness industry right now, right? They're being super palatable, very nice kind of thing. And CrossFit is just like, I'm surprised there wasn't swimming this year, to be honest. They've just kind of surged on. And I think it's a nice balance, though. You need it in the space, don't you? But I think the problem with WFP was all of those top guys just looked like shit when they did it because they're just complacent. They've not centered their season around it. I'm hoping that when it comes back for the next one, it's going to be pretty gnarly because there'll be guys like Vellner, who's not done the games. He's not happy with how he performed at the last one. And they're going to be knocking down the boys that have just done really well at the games. And that's going to be quite a nice mix, you know?
But also, like, I don't think he'll get anywhere near, mate. He's too wet now. But like, I'm thinking,
Yeah, he might not, but that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for,
Yeah.
you know.
But if you, it's one of them, innit? If you want to tell that story and big it up, then it'd be good. But for me, like, Dallin Pepper's going to be like, right, fuckers.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have a massive chip on his shoulder, and he's going to be flying out, and then that'll drag the others with him because they're his mates. They're not going to let him have a free
Yeah,
lunch.
there's a good camaraderie, right? Where they're all like, they're not giving anyone like the soft option, you know. No. But where did he fall down then? I didn't really see the individuals loads just because I was obviously doing my thing.
He didn't really. I think he didn't have the best result in the pegboard one, but he was quick to not blame that. He came, I think 14th, 15th in the run, but you were happy with how he performed in that because that were a weakness for him. And I think can't remember what the other one were that he didn't have a great finish in, but I just think that the others, it were one of them. It would just, I think 2 more events, and you can say that, couldn't you? Because, but
he didn't have 2 more events. Runs. Yeah, he didn't have any home runs in there. Yeah.
Yes, because Sprague were coming. I was buzzing. I was supporting him all weekend because I think he gets a right bad fucking.
Yeah, he's done well. He's done really well this year.
And he's just such a good guy. When he's on any podcast or anything, he just seems like such a great guy. And for him to come third, win Wadapalooza, just shuts all them people up.
He's one of those guys. He's got haters, right? Because he's too nice.
Yeah, and it's because he talks about Jesus. People don't like that, but you know what? It's his faith.
Bit too wholesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's his faith. He don't push it. He just says, "This is how I feel," and fair play to him. But my favourite thing for me, mate, with Jeff Adler just looking like he had arse on all weekend. That was fun to just see his miserable face.
Yeah, he was. I was because when we went out on Sunday, Harry and I were around his agent a little bit, but we're sat waiting for a cab or something, and they were getting into it. And there wasn't really a reason why he didn't perform that well, but I don't know.
Maybe he's saving himself a WFP, mate, so he can.
No one's doing that, though, are they?
The Woke Fitness Project.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't hate on WFP at all. Like, I think it's great that it exists, but to me, right now, it's like we've got to get some. You know, like I don't know if you're into wrestling, but like late 90s, like WWE, WCW, like Monday Night Wars kind of vibes. Like, we need a bit of that going on, you know, and that. In terms of interest in the sport, that will blow things up. I'm not saying that they need to go explicit content kind of thing, force the girls to wear bikinis or whatever, but it's that kind of like they need to not try to coexist peacefully. So next year, WFP are like, if you're a signed athlete, you are only doing WFP events. And it's like, and then CrossFit are like, we want to sign athletes. I don't know, like stuff like that. Like, I'm quite excited to see how it develops because it could be like pretty sweet.
Yeah, my only thing with the WFP, I'm just taking the piss out of it. I don't like the hypocrisy of it in terms of I feel like they used Lazar to promote it. Whether they say they did or didn't, they didn't. You know, they programmed an out
first,
Yeah, that's it. Athlete safety first, and then they've programmed a run outside in the summer in Arizona. And you can say it's 7 in the morning all you want, but it's still nearly 100 Fahrenheit at that time. So
yeah.
And more for me, if you take those bits out, it's more the competition element. I think when you're paying people up front to go, look at Laura Horvath just dumping weights and stuff. You know, she's an elite athlete that could fucking hammer anyone and only lost a tier in live competitions for however long. And then she is basically giving up in workouts. Like, does paying people up front give them the same motivation, especially in a sport where the way to be successful is to hurt the most? You know what I mean? If you're giving them success up front.
That's why I'm excited for this next one, because them doing that was unprecedented. So they've not taken it as seriously as they should. They've not performed well. Then all these people that shouldn't be beating them are beating them. So it's like, what are they going to come back with from that? Because at the end of the day, a paycheck's a paycheck, but like, these athletes have egos, and that comes before anything because no one likes losing. So I'll be very interested to see what happens coming back, because there's guys that like coming off the games 3 weeks back in, like, if I were one of those WFP athletes that hadn't done as well, I'll be like, I'm going to absolutely give it to these guys coming back. Like, they don't even know, you know, but it depends how they feel about it. So I'm excited for that. When is it? It's not next week, right? It's the week after.
Week after, yeah. and then SoCal after that, and that made
Amy's
me
been
laugh.
all of those, man.
Is she?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I can't believe that James Spray didn't get an invite to that, because he's got they've got Vellner, and then they've got Medeiros, Pepper, and Hopper on that male North American team. How Sprague got made that cut, I don't know, but anyway, I'm too much of a Sprague fan, mate. I'm gonna be converting and be born again.
Yeah, is it because he's got skinny arms? Is that?
Yeah, that's it, mate. These skinny arms, like we're friends. Right, mate. I think, in fact, let's just do it. Let's give it a sort of score out of 10. What would you rate the chances of Team AOD having another run next year out of 10?
50-50.
I'll take it. Report back. We'll have regular check-ins to see if we've moved the dial, mate. Right, just hang on for a sec after, mate, and I'll jump off. But cheers for doing this, mate.
No problem.